Well, welcome back to Forever United TV. Good morning, everybody. 1st of October. Here we go. A fresh month. Is it a fresh outlook for Manchester United? Or are we still going to continue down this negative road of poor results and bad news that just seems to keep on dropping in to the football club? We have optimism, of course. We have some good players at this football club. Bryan Mbeumo has been speaking, but everybody wants to know who Bryan Mbeumo has been talking. Who Bryan Mbeumo is going to actually be playing for going forward. More talk on Ruben Amorim walking out of Manchester United, that meeting that took place. I've done some digging around. I've messaged a few people on this and messaged the people who said that it did happen compared to the people that said it didn't happen, just to get a reaction. I have had feedback from that. I'll go through that this morning with you all and give you the input from what I've heard and what I've been told as well on that one. More talk last night about Ruben Amorim leaving Manchester United rather than quit them, being sacked by Manchester United, I think is the way you're looking at it there. There's so much talk going on right now behind the scenes. We're going to get through all of that in the show this morning. Bring you the transfer update and Manchester United's plans past Ruben Amorim or with Ruben Amorim. It doesn't matter apparently. All of that report coming up as well. I did have a poll going this morning, but it seems to have reset on YouTube for some strange reason. I was just asking the question, and you can get into the comment section about this anyway. We don't really need a poll on it, but do you think that with everything going on right now, Ruben Amorim will quit or will be sacked? Everything that I have been told, I'm going to go through now and get into this, but just let me know in the comment section as well, everybody. If you're live or if you are actually catching up later on, get in there, let me know what you're thinking, and let me know where you see this one going with Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. It does seem to be all heading in the same direction, but it could work out in a couple of different ways. Let's just say that. Whichever way you want to talk about it and look at it, it is pretty sad for Manchester United. Nobody wants to be talking this way or going on about what's happening right now, the demise of Manchester United, another manager leaving. It's crap. It is. And I know it is. And I know everybody is suffering for it right now. So let's look at everything around this and let's look at everything past this in the morning show today. Starting with that report that we did speak about last night. So last night we did the talk of Michael Carrick. Last night we were talking about what Michael Carrick could do at Manchester United in a short space of time. We gave opinions on whether we think an interim manager is the right call. Obviously, the talk from Xavi and Fabrizio Romano was out last night as well. But the interesting one which popped up, which we didn't talk about much, was the fact that Ruben Amorim might actually leave. Now, caught offside, I've jumped onto what iPaper were reporting last night, and Pete Hall, the journalist around Manchester United, was talking about. I'm just going to read through this now on this little part of this. Goes on at the first part of this article talking about the form and how bad it is at United, as all these articles do. But the interesting bit here is, according to the iPaper, the United hierarchy are sticking by the manager and have no desire to let him leave the club right now. But if they fear that he could resign in order to save his reputation, Radcliffe is determined to stick with his long-term vision for Manchester United, wary of the damaging cycle of constant managerial changes that has plagued the club since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. You can say that again. Nevertheless, insiders fear that Radcliffe's patience may be irrelevant if Amorim decides to quit on his own terms. Suggestions and reports of suggestions, some close to the situation believe it's almost inevitable that the Portuguese coach will resign before Ineos make any formal decision, as he grows increasingly worn down by the hostile environment surrounding him. As it goes on to say, with the results faltering and criticism mounting, Amorim's future looks increasingly uncertain. Whether he walks away to preserve his reputation or holds on with the backing of Ineos, the coming weeks could be decisive. Hence why most people that I've spoken to have all said there's a lot riding on this weekend, and Sunderland, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out, or any kind of football expert, but that there, I'm just going to read this one paragraph out again, and we'll get into that in detail. Reports suggest some close to the situation believe it is, in quotes, almost inevitable the Portuguese coach will resign before Ineos make any formal decision, as he grows increasingly worn down by the hostile environment surrounding him. Now, I look at that and I move on to what Sully told us and what Sully posted out as well, when talking about 1 foot out of the door. Remember them? He quoted that after the City game a few weeks ago now. And Ruben Amorim and what was happening before, no matter what happened at Chelsea, that upbeat, that buoyant sort of mood after getting a win. Look, nobody came away from Chelsea fully convinced by Manchester United's performance or the win itself. Like I said last night, Manchester United never win convincingly anymore. Manchester United are always scraping and just hanging on to any victory that we get. It just seems like last ditch and desperate every time United get a win. And that was my overriding thought of that. And this mood here and that line there, almost inevitable that Ruben will walk. This isn't new. This isn't new at all to anybody, and this is exactly what Sully was saying. The people close to him. So when you're talking about people reporting in and around Manchester United, these are people close to Ruben Amorim as well and the situation. Like we said the other day, Sully was telling me that he is an isolated figure and a lonely figure at Manchester United right now. He doesn't talk, he doesn't open up to anybody, no staff members. So no one's really looking at this from sources from Manchester United as directly from Ruben Amorim. It's people around Ruben Amorim talking about how he is, his demeanour, how it's drained the life out of him working at Manchester United, the squad that he's working with. It's a difficult one to gauge in terms of how it is right now at Manchester United. He's putting a brave face on it. He seemed defeatist in that interview that he did with Hargreaves last night as well when that came out, and you just don't get the vibe, do you? You don't get the feeling like everything is going to be all right at Manchester United. And like I said, Adam Crafton from The Athletic said last night also, you start to speak to people when this sort of form creeps in and around United to gauge where everything is and where people are at. And there is that inevitability, that same old cycle and that same movie creeping in again, that inevitable outcome that feels like it's building up again, and just everyone's saying exactly the same things. But the big thing about this is, and a lot of people have brought this up regarding the compensation and Ineos potentially saving money, are Ineos making Ruben Amorim continue with this so he quits on his own accord? Look, you could say that and I could say that, and I do believe that Ineos want to back him, but I feel like in backing Ruben Amorim right now and not making this decision, they are pretty much making him make the decision himself. And that's how it looks to me from the outside right now. Again, that's just my opinion, and everyone's welcome to theirs. And you can get in the comment section and give me them. But realistically, he needs to win Sunderland. But like I said before, I don't see this team capable or being capable of winning any of the next 4 games after that. And you're kind of throwing away a month's worth of football here. And how far Manchester United will drop if the results don't go right, which inevitably they probably won't with the teams that we've got coming up, unless everybody gets the shock of their lives and United manage to pull something together. But in current form and how Manchester United have performed in a year under Ruben Amorim, nobody is saying that United are going to get anything from these games at all. So that's the problem I think Manchester United have got right now. It's where Ineos going to commit to that compensation and just telling Ruben Amorim, your time is up? Or is there any amicable agreement that could be made here? If he loses to Sunderland, and it is all coming down to this game this weekend, it literally is. He's not going to get sacked this week. It's not happening. We know that for certain now. But the weekend and then 2 weeks off for international break, it's going to really, really start to get a little bit sticky and a bit hot around Manchester United and the Ruben Amorim situation. I just feel like this now and that talk, it just took me back to the Sully Talks comments where he said he's got 1 foot out of the door. It's not like we haven't heard of this before, and I do think that United now are looking at this situation and going, okay, Ruben, and honestly, this is how I feel right now. If Ruben... And this was supposedly, but most people have come out and said, look, he wanted to quit. And he was convinced to stay at Manchester United by the powers that be at the football club. So we take that as he was ready to quit. We can look at certain stories and say they're true or they're not. But there was quite a few people reporting that. I still myself don't fully believe it. I'm going to be completely honest with that. But still, if he did, then it is a worrying sign straight away for me. But that was with all of the old bomb squad players. So maybe he's gone through the summer and now he feels a little bit better. But I guarantee you this, if Ruben Amorim went to Ineos now and said, I can't do any more, I want to quit, there's the door. I think that would be the answer. See you later. Thank you for your time. It didn't work out. And we'll we'll bring somebody else in. That's where Manchester United would be at, I feel, right now. They wouldn't stand in Ruben's way if he wanted to quit again. And this walking away thing and these reports here, and that one just stands out. The almost inevitable comment in that paragraph there from Pete Hall and iPaper, and then what Court Offside are also reporting. It all leads into what Sully was saying as well. So, yeah. At the moment, it is actually really, really awkward, it would seem. And it's who's gonna call a bluff? Who's going to go first? Who's going to actually make that move? Is it going to be Ruben? Is it going to be Ineos? I would prefer it to be Ineos and just sack him and show the fan base that they are not willing to accept these standards. They're not willing to accept that this is okay at Manchester United. I don't want Ruben to walk away. I don't want that to happen. I want them to stand up and say, look, Ruben, there's your compensation. We dragged you out of Sporting, so we're going to pay you to leave. That's how I would prefer it to happen. I don't like anybody being sacked. I don't like any manager or any player falling away, being sold or leaving this football club. You want everyone to succeed, and I think that's the overwhelming feeling amongst most people right now. No one wants this to happen, but the inevitable is there. The writing's on the wall, and it's about time that Manchester United just acted like a big club, I feel, and just did what was necessary, because I don't think he feels like he can do the job either right now. And that's just the way that these reports and his whole demeanour is coming across for me. And it is a massive, massive concern again that we've absolutely destroyed another manager's career. This football club is an absolute disgrace. It is. Look, I'm talking about the inevitable, and this is what I meant by last night. It doesn't matter if you're in or if you're out. You don't have to explain why you feel this manager needs to leave the football club. The obvious is there. But the overwhelming feeling amongst all Manchester United fans is, what the hell is happening to this club, and why is it going so badly wrong right now? And that, I think, is something that every single Manchester United fan can agree with. It's another career destroyed at Manchester United, and Ruben Amorim is inevitably walking out of that door one way or the other, and I think it will happen this international break. Even if he beats Sunderland, I think there's still going to be movement. I do, because you cannot keep clinging on to just scraping results in. Now, obviously, you could always use the excuse, look, he's won a game, we can't sack him after winning a game. This happened with Erik ten Hag at exactly the same stage of the season. I'll tell you the game that it was as well. Manchester United went to Villa Park. Everyone expected United to lose that game, and then Erik ten Hag be sacked in that October international break. Remember the videos? Remember it outside the offices in London? Sky were there. Everyone was reporting on it, waiting for the news. The big meeting, the monthly meeting that United had with all of the board of directors. Anyway, we drew 0-0 with Aston Villa, and that was seen by some. And I remember it. Some of the pundits were talking that was a creditable result for Manchester United at the time. They've dug in there and they've ground the result out. It was 0-0. But that kept him in a job. That kept Ten Hag at Manchester United for another month, pretty much, because then the next group of games after the international break, Erik ten Hag failed again. We had the result against West Ham, I think it was, where we lost 2-1. Debacle of a VAR decision, I think, at the time. And then he was gone. He was sacked. And in came Ruud van Nistelrooy to take over. And that was that. And it's looking very, very similar to that. But let's not forget, Erik ten Hag was gone, but Ruud stayed and did them 4 games. So to get over that year, we've got to add the Ruud van Nistelrooy games to Ten Hag's as well. So we're at pretty much where Ten Hag dropped out now from last season. And it's at that result again. So Sunderland this weekend at home, you would think Manchester United would be able to get the result. I think this would be the clearest sign yet. And I've always said this, if United start losing at home, that's when the writing really starts to go deep. You're talking Sharpie writing on the wall then. It can't be rubbed off. If you start losing home games, then you're out of it. Let's get some comments on this now quickly. There's loads of people coming in, loads of different opinions. I want to move on to that meeting as well. That's the next story. So that's coming up next. Let's quickly get some thoughts on walking or being sacked with Ruben Amorim first. It's a shocking way to treat a worker. Have the balls to face him and say, look, it doesn't look like this is working out, and part ways gracefully instead of dragging it out. That there from Darren, I think a lot of fans are looking at that right now. Look, just call it. End the misery. Actually stand up and do something. and actually take a little bit, well, it's not credit, but do you know what I mean? Rather than let this just die slowly, rip it now, just end it. That's where we're at, I think, with a lot of Manchester United fans. Players sacking another manager. I've seen it all before. A new manager won't make a difference. A club is rotten. Look, yep, I've seen that comment now. How many times have I said this? The only time I would bring anyone up and say that is wrong, as what Nelson said there, is if they were having a go at me and saying, well, what would you do? Well, look, there is nothing that I can do. There's nothing that anybody can do. And right at the end of that comment there, sacking another manager isn't going to fix it. Look, it's just going to happen all over again with the new manager. The club is rotten. That's the end of that comment now. Is exactly where United fans are. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know what the answers are. Nobody knows what the answers are. And that's the biggest fear. And that's why Manchester United right now and Manchester United's fans are scared. Because we don't know what's coming next. This was it. The structure's in. The bomb squad are gone. The problems are out the way. No, they're not. We're still awful. And another manager is going to lose his job because of it. It's horrible. It really is horrible. Gary says, morning, made a few right moves when... sorry. Someone's talking to somebody else. I thought he was bringing up something on Ruben. And sorry, mate. Continue your conversation, buddy. 20 months and still loving the channel, mate. Thank you, Block. Appreciate that, Sean. Thanks for the renewal, my man. We keep going, everybody. We keep going. It's not easy in times like this, being a United fan, but we're in this together and we're having the debates together. We're trying to big ourselves. Well, not big ourselves, but we're trying to give ourselves a little bit of a lift, I think. I don't know if I'll be able to survive this on my own right now. It'd be doing my head in sat there. I'm glad I've actually got the community and everyone here to actually talk about it every day, because it's the only way I'm getting through this. I am. And I said it last night and I'll keep on saying it. I'm petrified. I really am aware this football club is going. We could be... We don't get this right like now in this era. I'm not talking sacking Ruben and who we bring in. They need to figure something out, because there's so much at stake. And people laugh it off all of the time and what I say and everything. But Man United's first team will have a knock-on effect on the under-18s, the under-21s, the women's team, everything that's been built at Manchester United. If this first team don't get their acts together, the absolute disgrace that they are, then everybody at this football club suffers. Everyone that has been built. And this current crop of players and this setup in the first team right now over the last 10 years, honest to God, they need to look at what their part has been in this whole saga of Manchester United falling off. Look at the history of this football club and this era here under the Glazers, with the people that they employed and the players that are playing there right now. They need to look at themselves and go, wow, yeah, I really did play a part in the destruction of Manchester United, because that's what it looks like at the moment. It's horrible. Let's get a few more in this. Jonathan's in the chat. He says every manager that comes in now will look at with a different eyes, always wondering how many seasons they will last or get through. Does anyone... I get what Jonathan's saying there. Is there anyone who has got a problem with what Chelsea were doing in sacking manager after manager but still being successful? Would you be all right in doing this with all of these managers if Manchester United were continuously up there and always in Europe and competing for trophies? Would anyone have a problem with that? That's another question that needs asking as well, because Chelsea's model can be criticised and we can all laugh at it and look at the stability that Manchester United are looking for and the longevity in managers and things like that. But realistically, Manchester United in doing so have fallen further behind these clubs. It all comes down to what the Glazers have done at the end of the day. It's always going to be the Glazers and what they have done and what they have put in place at Manchester United. And trying to unpick that right now just seems like an impossible task for Ineos. They are trying everything that they possibly can, but every single mistake now that they make is scrutinised even more, because we're at such a critical stage of where United are and how we move forward. That's the worrying sign for me, and that worries me more than anything else. It's like, what if we start to see cracks in Ineos now after we apparently put the best in class in place to deal with problems like this? Honestly, they must be sat around that table now thinking, what the hell do we do next? Right, quickly get a couple of super chats in before we move on to that other story as well I want to talk about regarding that meeting and what's going on. I have this feeling we will smash Sunderland, then we will go to Anfield and get beat by Liverpool somehow. So he'll go to Anfield and beat Liverpool somehow, and it'll be finally back-to-back wins at Liverpool's expense. Football is funny like that sometimes. Oh, Jack, I love that enthusiasm, mate. I'm taking that with me all day, Jack. Best super chat ever, and I'm glad that you're actually number one on that leaderboard from YouTube in the chat at the moment with that one, mate. I'm clinging on to that with everything that I've got, Jack, buddy. Thanks for that. Thanks for adding a little bit of hope into the chat this morning. Ant says, rinse and repeat, same again in 12 and 18 months. It's a fact. Is that the way that it's got to be now? Is that the way it's always going to be until you find that right man? Is there any harm in sacking people that have failed? It happens in every single job and industry across the world. So if he's not doing it and he's not willing to change, he has to be sacked. If you're an owner, you've got to make that decision. And this is the point I'm making this morning. Don't let Ruben Amorim walk out that door. Sack him because this isn't acceptable, and sack him and accept that compensation. Accept the mistake that you made in backing him all the way and giving into what he wanted, rather than, like I said before, in that first interview when Ineos first came in, they wanted to create a philosophy. They wanted to bring a manager in and play the way that they wanted to play. But then Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out afterwards and said, Ruben convinced us to go all in on what he thinks in terms of football style, and we brought him in. All of that, like, that's on you. That's on you, Sir Jim, Barada, Wilcox. That's all on Ineos. So I would prefer you to sack Ruben Amorim and say, we made a mistake. We're paying the price for it. And we are not going to allow this to happen again. Don't let him walk out of the door, because that just looks defeatist and that looks like you're giving up. And that looks really, really bad on the football club. I don't care how much money we're saving. Pay him the 12 million quid that you promised him for leaving Sporting halfway through a season and get on with the job in hand. That's how I want this to play out. Jim's just renewed his membership as well. Good morning, Adam, Kaz, and everyone. Good morning to you as well, Jim. Hope you're doing good, matey. Thanks to everyone who joined us for the watch along last night. Tonight, when we do our shows later, I'm going to let you know, we're going to do a giveaway later on as well on Football Talks today. So later on, when we're doing all of the other contents and all of the watch-alongs and stuff, we are doing a giveaway. So make sure you're involved for that. More on that later on through the afternoon, but just wanted to let you know on that one as well. And don't forget, everybody, we did make the announcement last night. James has put the link up in the live chat. Match Bingo is continuing the 200% promotion on deposits. So put FUTV, all caps, in the promo code when you go on to Match Bingo now when you're making a deposit, and get a 200% booster on your deposit amount. It's £2 a game. Gems herself has won 600 quid. A few other people have won a few hundred quid. Loads of people on FUTV right now, because of this code, are winning big. Grab your opportunity now. They're extending it over another month for us, people. So, yes, thank you, Match Bingo, our Match Day sponsors. Scan that QR code on your screen right now, or hit that link in the live chat, everybody. Get your winnings up. At least we can try and cheer ourselves up with all of this doom and gloom going on around the club. Let's win off United if they're not winning for us. There we go. I think I'll use that phrase going forward now, actually. Well, it's crap anyway, I will. Right, moving on. Thank you for the supers, everybody, and thank you, everybody, for all of your comments. Keep them coming in. Moving on to that story about that so-called meeting and what is actually going on right now. What I've been told this morning. So we said that Sully came back against Indy on Twitter, saying that that meeting did not happen. There wasn't an emergency meeting about Ruben Amorim being told he has to change his ways. No, that did not happen. But was there a meeting? Some people are saying, yes, there was a meeting. And this was the question I was asking before. To the people that have been saying that there was a meeting, I have directly messaged them, and they are saying that there was a meeting. They've even retweeted it and doubled down on it. But in terms of what the meeting was about, that's where you kind of go, right, okay, we don't know, and maybe there was a meeting. The thing to take from it was there was no meeting to tell Ruben to change. That was the big thing. But there was a meeting, apparently, according to these people. Now, they have said that the meeting did take place A lot has been discussed, the details of which we are never going to know. But the noises and people at the football club and coming from it, and United sources are saying there is talk of a few different manager names, which is where the stories have come from over the last few days for us. Informally communicating about the next man to come in to replace Ruben Amorim. This is where we're at. Again, off the back of this weekend. So, whether or not these talks go away if United beat Sunderland, but everybody I've spoken to and everybody who is talking about this right now has said exactly the same thing. Meetings have taken place, but they always take place. It's no difference. But the word is there is internal, informal talk of next managers coming in to replace Ruben Amorim. It is happening. There is no plan to replace Ruben Amorim. Like Romano said, but things change very quickly and he needs results, and that includes this weekend. And the last game before the international break is always the one. Like we said with Villa last season with Erik ten Hag, that 0-0 draw pretty much kept him in a bleeding job, didn't it? So looking at this game against Sunderland this weekend, the fact that it's at Old Trafford and our record this season at Old Trafford is good. And then we could actually be looking at 3 wins in a row at Old Trafford this weekend if we beat Sunderland, which I'm trying to think. I'm not sure we actually managed in the Premier League last season under Ruben Amorim. So that's a first. I know you could say I'm clutching at straws a little bit there, but I like to be positive. I do. And United winning 3 games in a row at Old Trafford, I've said this all along. Look, if you win all of your home games, you add that up through a season, you're pretty much there in the, near enough 60-point mark. That there is European football, because you are going to get a few draws and maybe the odd win here or there away from home. If you turn Old Trafford into a fortress and you keep winning your own games, that could be enough to keep you in the top half and challenge for maybe a Europa Conference League or a Europa League place. I know it's desperate, and I know I'm trying here, and you can laugh it off all you want, but I just want to see my side winning football games. And you know what? If it's still with Ruben, it's still with Ruben. I just want to see them win and play with the confidence that they should be. I just find it incredibly difficult to understand how this team can be so bad. But it is all down. It is all down on what is going on at Manchester United this weekend. Old Trafford, I'm not there this weekend. Like I said, we're doing a watch along, so it's going to be a crazy day. It really is, and there's going to be loads to talk about. I'm at a wedding in the afternoon, so I cannot go to the game. My mind's going to be thinking what's going on. Ideally, just win the game and everything calms down, and everyone can have a nice weekend. And then we come back, and I'm sure everything will just go down in the next group of games. I don't want Ruben to be sacked. I don't want him to go. I think he's going to get sacked. This is my opinion. I've said that. I've made that clear in all the shows I'm talking. But at the end of the day, I never want my team to lose a game of football. I want United to win every single game that they go into. I'm a realist, and I know what's coming. I know. I'm not going to hide away from that. But just give the fans something this weekend. Send us into the international break with a win. As I said, I've predicted the last 2 results. I think United will win this weekend, scrape it over the line. I think it'll be our first clean sheet of the season. I think we'll win 1-0 or something like that. It won't be pretty, it won't be nice, but it'll be big for Ruben Amorim. And we're back up to mid-table-ish going into the international break again. But like I said, 3 wins in a row. Just to give you what everyone else has been saying this morning as well. I don't believe this, but this has come from Indy this morning as well with an exclusive. Manchester United technical team, who are in control of major footballing decisions for the club, are bemused that Sir Gareth Southgate, I hate saying that, is added to the shortlist by Sir Jim Radcliffe to replace Ruben Amorim. To be honest, anyone could make that story up. That's how I look at that. So I'm not looking at that and thinking that is anything major or breaking. It is kind of obvious, isn't it? That's what it is. People at Manchester United, if you are let's just say a footballing history, which most people are, technical people at Manchester United who are in charge now under this management team, if you're looking at Sir Jim Radcliffe coming to you, who knows, let's be honest, nothing about football. I'm going to say that. He don't know anything, I don't feel. I think he can watch games like us and give his opinion, yeah, for definite. But when it comes to footballing people, that's why he's employed them. I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is pushing anything forward regarding Gareth Southgate. I think this is a baloney story completely. I don't think Southgate's going to be Man United's manager. I think Wilcox, Berardo, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, they have dropped clangers here in fully backing Ruben Amorim, but they're not about to bring in Gareth Southgate. I would give up on everything if United brought Southgate into the football club. I would. I would give up on this whole model, Ineos, everything. That's how bad that decision would be. And I would be absolutely devastated if that happened. I just don't see it. I don't see the story being real. And I think it's someone sensationalising everything that's going wrong at Manchester United right now and doubling down on the doom and gloom factor around the football club and everything that's happening. And I think they're feeding off the fans right now. They really are. I don't believe it one bit. So, yeah, that is where we're at. So the meeting's taking place. Yes, like I said yesterday, though, I think with this, I think it is a case of these meetings are just normal anyway, and they happen all of the time. So Manchester United will be talking about every single aspect of the business and the football club in these meetings, as they always do. Nothing has come out. They're not going to sack Ruben this week. It's all on Saturday's game. If he loses to Sunderland, I think the decision will be made. I just hope that they sack him and he doesn't walk. That was the main point to take from that as well. I'm going to get some more comments in before we move into what Manchester United are doing with or without Ruben Amorim going forward. The plan seems to be the same. And this is good news for United. So I'm going to get into that next. Quickly, first of all, definitely clutching at straws, says United Focus. I'm afraid 26 points by January and the bottom, in the bottom three. We won't be beating Sunderland either. We need the man gone. And remember, Ruben is sacking himself by not adapting. I know all of that. I know every single bit of that. And I think that is why I cannot back Ruben Amorim. He's not giving me anything to back him with. I don't want him to go. I don't want any manager to go. I want them all to succeed because it means that the club's doing well. And that is where this fan base is at. So if you are worried and concerned about Ruben, don't let any other Man United fan or anyone else tell you that you're not a real fan for doubting this guy. It's inevitable you're going to have doubts. So don't worry is what I'm saying. You be you and be the United fan that you feel right now. If you don't like Ruben, you don't like Ruben. If you want him sacked, you want him sacked. You've seen enough. There is a reason why you don't like him. And that is because United are crap under him. And that's there. I'm sure you wanted it to work for Ruben as well. But it's just not going to, is it? And I think that's been proven after a year at the football club. Let's hope United win or Adam at that wedding won't bring much joy. And no thanks for that, Jonathan. But Jack says, 4-0 win against Sunderland. Guarantee you then United players come out at Old Trafford like they did against Chelsea. Oh, I know. I hate that. Like, just get the win and walk down the tunnel. You've got your job done. Don't even start giving it like the fist pumping. Thank you. No, it's not for me, all of that. You've won a game of football. Get down the tunnel. Get back in the changing room. Let's go again. Stuart, welcome to the Members Club, my friend. Thank you very much for that, buddy. Let's get a few more comments in before we move on. Nobody believed Ranić and everything he said was bang on, and the same staff are seeing another manager off. Well, no, they're not, mate, because since Ranić, every single member of staff at the higher level, Jeff, has been sacked. So it's not the same as what it was when Ranić was here. It is just the same players. And if you mean the players, then that's fair enough, mate. But in terms of hierarchy, there is no Woodward, there is no Murtaugh, there is no Arnold, there is no Judge. There is all of that team has gone at the top. And we have got people who do know what they're talking about in football, at least in at Manchester United right now. Waistcoat FC, says Gems. Don't even wind us up with that one. Andrew says, we YouTubers and fans are wrong so often. Maybe Southgate would be the answer. I've seen videos about how Ten Hag and Ruben would bring back the glory days, and now they say Southgate would be terrible. No, what we're looking at here is someone with zero pedigree coming into United and everyone being really scared of it because of what has happened, like you just described, Andrew? That's how I would answer that question there. You can say, yeah, let's just bring in the worst possible manager and maybe that would work for us. Can you really see that working? No. Like, hand on heart, you're guessing again there and you're hoping. So what you would hope this football club would do is bring in somebody that has got the right credentials, that is going to be able to work in the Premier League. And this is why I think we're hearing all of these stories about Manchester United looking for Prem-proven managers. I think that's an important thing to remember as well. Amorim is a good coach coming up. The job is too big for him. He has a lot to learn for now. He is not the right man for the job, says Chris. Fair enough. That is a fair comment. Right, let's move on to everything else that is going on right now. Manchester United are still pushing ahead with the Carlos Baleba transfer. So the story coming out on this one is Manchester United aims to sign Carlos Baleba regardless of Ruben Amorim's status. Baleba is viewed as an ideal midfielder for the club's future, with the board confident in his quality. Now that there I think is good news for Manchester United. It really is. And I think that United actually looking at this now, you would say we are building for the future no matter who the manager is. No manager lasts 3 or 4 years at a job now, unless it's something like Klopp or Pep or Arteta even. Like, it's very, very rare. So to safeguard yourself, the club and the hierarchy would be buying players that could fit into several different systems. And this was made a point of in the transfer window as well, that United are not just buying Ruben Amorim players. I think some of the players we bought actually are not Ruben Amorim players. But I said this yesterday, and what Jamie Carragher said also on Monday Night Football, United's window wasn't a mess. People are saying that they've messed it up. No, it wasn't a mess. It's just that Ruben took his time to bring certain players in. We had injuries with the transfers. The players we brought in actually are not that bad. They're good signings, they're very good signings in fact. And other managers moving forward will be able to use these players in any other system. So we're not worried about that. Also, in a different formation, every single one of these players we already know work in a way. It's just the quality of the other players that we've been discussing. The Dallots, Maguires, Shaws, Brunos, Casemiros. Time to move all of that old guard on. But if we can get that done in the summer, then it doesn't matter who's in charge of Manchester United. As long as they are there and are going to use what we've got, the transfer window was decent for United. And United looking forward for likes of Carlos Baleba and talking past Ruben Amorim. I ain't got a problem with that. Some people will say that's already putting Ruben out of his misery there, isn't it? It's already accepting that Ruben's not going to be here. Well, no, it's not. United and every football club have to bring in players that are going to work past a certain manager. Managers are dispensable and everybody knows this in football. So you have to continue with the plan in terms of what you want to do recruitment-wise. And I'm happy we're hearing stories about Carlos Baleba still being a top target for Manchester United. All we can say on that side of things is he actually the right type of player in general? Not based off what Amorim wants to do and Amorim's system, but is Carlos Baleba the right player to sign? Looking at his form this season so far, some would argue no at the moment. But some would still say, look, class is permanent, and obviously he's been distracted with everything going on. He'll find his feet again, which I'm sure he will this season, and he will look like a good player for United to go and get. So that, I think, is I think a good sign for Manchester United. We heard the rumours and noises about Ruben Neves as well yesterday and the day before. Manchester United looking at him on a free transfer also. And Manchester United now being favourites to sign Dusan Vlahovic also from Juventus on a free transfer when his contract ends as backup for Benjamin Sesko in the striker department. 2 free transfers in Neves and Vlahovic, and then a Baleba on top. You are strengthening there, I would say. Them signings will make Manchester United stronger in depth. Baleba and one more midfielder and Ruben Neves is what I would be hoping for if Manchester United were going down that road in the transfer market this summer. Anyway, that I think is important to remember. But the plan to go ahead past Ruben Amorim, not that I'm really excited about transfers right now, we're nowhere near the window or anything like that, but the fact that the talks are still there about what Man United want to do going forward, and it's not determined by who's in charge, is big, because that means that you are trying to build a football philosophy and a style of play. And I think every manager then needs to fall into that, and you need to be able to adapt to it. And I think that overall is a big positive for Manchester United, well, for United fans anyway. At least we're not concerned about what we do in the transfer window as much. I mean, the style of football and what we've got and what we're watching is horrendous, and we all know this, but I don't think the windows have been that bad the last 2 summers. Really, we should have got more midfielders. That's about it. And we should have got better midfielders. I'm talking better than Agate. I think he should have been looked at properly. And we should have definitely brought in at least 2 more midfielders than what we've got right now. So, yeah, looking at the transfer window itself, I think that is quite big. Here's a spanner. Go do that brain surgery. Okay, I don't know what that's about, Ant, sorry. I don't know what that is about. 4 players are not. 4 players are the route mates. They should be taking keystones, but as per usual, once they got a contract, a job done, and no football needed. Sure, what Jeff's talking about there. Talking about the players maybe that need to be out of this football club that everybody knows. How did Ruben take his time to bring the players in? Does he drive the fetch them and make them sign contracts? No, when he bought them, Kieran. And that's what I'm saying. Why is he not playing Senna Lamens? Why did it take so long to play Benjamin Sesko? You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. We've not seen Sesko start in the Premier League properly yet for Manchester United, apart from Chelsea and obviously Brentford now. Could he have done more? Could he have brought him in? Like, we're judging the signings off them not really finding their feet yet. And obviously the Senna Lamens one in particular, why are you not playing Senna Lamens? That's purely a Ruben Amorim issue right now. Why is Baynder still in goal for Manchester United after you spent 20 million on Senna Lamens? Is this Ruben Amorim fighting back and saying, I'm not playing the new keeper because I wanted Emi Martinez? I don't know. There might be more unrest behind the scenes than what there is. But no, I'm not having a go at Ruben Amorim, just to be clear on that there about how the signings were made and bringing them in. I'm talking about using them in the right way. And that, again, is on Ruben Amorim. I think Sesko should have been playing and playing from the start. I don't think Manchester United should have been going with 3 number 10s up front, even though we played all right football and didn't have a problem. I think he needs to make a decision on who plays as his number 10s. And honestly, I think if you've changed his shape, he could fit all of these players in and rotate them a lot easier than what he's got right now. But look, he's not going to do it. Let's have a quick check through all of the other stories that are floating around right now. There is a story. Laurent Blanc has surfaced as a surprise option on Manchester United's managerial shortlist if Ruben Amorim exits. Blanc is eager to jump back into management after his departure from Al Ittihad. No, I don't see Laurent Blanc coming into Manchester United. That isn't happening. I know there is obviously potentially connections there. Look, no. That one there, I'm just ignoring that story. Brian Mbeumo has been talking openly as well. It was in an interview with Sky saying Ruben Amorim constantly always backs him. He's really good for me. He pushes me a lot, but I know it's for the right reasons, and that works well for me. He's also been talking about playing alongside Benjamin Sesko and Matthias Cunha. Exciting learning to play with new teammates. It's a challenge, but that's what we love as footballers. With more time together, things will improve. Yeah. At the club this size, every player has responsibilities. Everyone must understand their role. As a team, we need to perform better. Same words as what Cunha was saying, basically. They're backing the manager and they like Ruben Amorim, but again, they're calling out teammates pretty much, saying that we need to do more. I think both Cunha and Mbeumo are absolutely shocked at how poor Manchester United really are. These are good players that have really performed to the highest level in the Premier League for so-called lesser teams than Man United, and have come to United and gone backwards because of the rest of the team. And they're the facts. You can't ignore that. They're facts. They have regressed because of the rest of the team, and they're being dragged down with this Manchester United ship. And it's a shame that we're doing this to these types of players. It really is. I don't want to be talking about Mbeumo and Cunha not hitting it off yet. I think they are trying, and I think they continue playing their game, which is I'm happy about, and eventually it will really click for them. But look, you cannot expect them to perform at their highest level when the rest of the team is so bad. And that's the problem with Man United. Everyone behind them at weekend was players that have been here before and have failed before. There wasn't one player in that side that Ruben Amorim has brought in that team behind him, like behind them strikers. You could say you had the new players like De Ligt and Dorgu, but they weren't Ruben signings eventually, was there? But that there, for me, I think, personally, is the biggest problem there for the new players coming in. And I just hope that they don't get dragged into this crap level of football. But look, it's all going to come down to Saturday. Everything we've spoken about this morning has been all around Ruben Amorim, whether he's going to survive, is he going to walk, is he going to get sacked. It's all going to come down to Sunderland at weekend. If he wins, then he stays. And then he'll get sacked for the November internationals. I'm pretty certain of it. If he loses this weekend to Sunderland, then the word is, and what everybody's talking about, is Ruben is done. And that's it. It's the inevitable. Ruben is out, and Manchester United are looking for another manager. The talk of that at the moment is it could be a permanent, it might be an interim. But I would prefer Manchester United to sack Ruben Amorim, is my thoughts, rather than letting him walk. I think that is just a cop-out. Stu has been a member 19 months. Thank you. Please smash the like and don't forget to subscribe, everybody, says Stu. Thanks for that, buddy. Pete says, get Simeone. I hope it works for Amorim. I want my team winning, but Simeone would give them players a kick up the backside. There's no chance that Simeone comes to Manchester United. He's never going to leave Atletico, I don't think. And he's definitely not going to leave them in the middle of a Champions League season, particularly after their result last night, by the way. So, yeah, don't forget, later on when we're doing a watch songs, we're doing a giveaway, a football shirt giveaway. So make sure that you're there for that one. More on that later on. Also, make sure you take advantage of the match bingo setup that we've got right now. If you scan the QR code or click on the link in the live chat or in the description under match bingo, 200% bonus booster on your deposits right now. If you put in the promo code when making a deposit, FUTV, and then you will be boosted by 200%, everybody. Get on that now while we've still got it. We are running it for another month. Thank you again to Match Bingo for our coverage on match days and being a sponsor of the channel. And that offer has brought hundreds of winnings to many a people already in the FUTV community. So go give yourself a chance of winning or being part of that prize pot. Ruben did an interview which dropped yesterday, and he said, we are crazy. We need crazy players, and that's so true. I love Cunha arguing with the Arsenal players. I've seen this. Yeah, he was talking about the players and what we need. We need different characters. We need better characters at Manchester United. He was talking about that. The worrying thing that he said yesterday was not knowing how his team is going to go out and perform on the pitch. He just hasn't got a clue, and that was the biggest worry. From me from that interview. The unknown. If the manager doesn't know, we don't know. If the manager doesn't know, then the players definitely don't know. And all around, it just looks like a complete mess. And it's given us zero confidence going forward that we can actually make this happen. That we can actually get something out of this season with Ruben Amorim or in any game. It is devastating watching Man United at the moment. That's the honest truth, and the unknown is what's killing us. It really is. Thank you for all the super chats today, everybody. Thank you for all of your input into the show. Absolutely love that. Well over 300 likes again. Please pop a like on the video if you're enjoying the constant updates and videos, everybody. Hit that subscribe button. Both of them are absolutely free and help the channel out massively. So be part of this journey. Join us here on FUTV. We will turn this around. We will be talking more positively. I'm fully confident, whether it's with Ruben or not, we are going to move forward and something will change this season. It has to. Just to finish up there as well, Ants has just dropped another super in. It says, that's Ruben telling us the players are the issue. Again, rinse and repeat, it would seem, wouldn't it? And that is our show this morning, everybody. Thank you so much. I will see you all later on in the evening show. Again, if there is anything coming up this afternoon or anything that breaks, I'll bring it you. Stay tuned. Hit that bell notification button as well so you're notified when we